Hello? Yes.
Did it?
Success.
Success. Right on 6.
Yes, right on 6. Not here, but there.
Yeah, exactly.
What time does it get dark there?
Well, I think because the weather's been nice the last few days, I would say, I don't know, like 9, 9:30, it starts to get dark. So
weird.
Yeah. So when I go up to bed at 10 o'clock, usually I go 10 or 10:30, it's usually quite dark then.
But you normally go to bed around then, but there's sleep happening from about 8 to 9:45 on the couch, certain various levels of comatose.
I think you're being very, very generous. 8 o'clock is late.
Yeah, 7:30. But I've seen you do it's a very demurred pass out. You don't go you go like, you kind of keep it like that. Like
I think Hillary, my sister, always says she looks at me and she isn't sure whether I'm asleep because I do.
Sure.
Yes, I do it in a very.
But then you'll do. This is what you'll do. You'll play it off. I have a stand-up joke that's sort of about some of this stuff, but you'll go like, you'll kind of key back in and then you'll kind of comment. You'll be like, oh, I'll cover my sleep tracks with a comment about what's going on. So you'll sort of go, doesn't he have a big nose? And you'll be like, yeah, you just showed up to the party. You're acting like you've been here the whole time.
Yes, I'm very good at. My mother, when she went to sleep, she'd fall asleep on that couch and her whole head would go back and her mouth, and she'd be like this.
Oh, well, I see on planes, and I honestly have, even in my time, been like, I think I was doing one of those where I've seen, I mean, it is amazing sometimes when you're on a plane how loud someone will snore, and it's just sort of the shared experience where everyone's like, what is with this guy? But he'll just have his mouth open like a bird bath, just like, just head.
And then do you find this when you fly? I find when I fly, I mean, I do it here, but on a plane, I'll go,
that's the worst. It's probably what sleep is like in hell. Because every time you're about to go under, your body relaxes into sleep and then you shock yourself back up. But it's also one of the better things to watch on a plane, to just be like, watch that guy over there. And the guy's just like, meh.
And then you discover you've missed your meal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You wake up, you're like, people are wiping their mouths. Ma'am, excuse me.
Well, they're just behind you and you're trying to attract their attention because they never look.
Well, they don't want to look.
I know.
It's like when you go to a bar or pub sometimes, like the bartender just doesn't want to acknowledge you, and you're like, why does this person hate me? And they'll just be like, they know you're there. They know you're there, and they'll be like, hey, Candy, can I talk to you about something different for a minute? So you're like, you just looked at me. Give me what I want.
And they know you were first in the queue, but they still ignore you. Yeah. No.
And then when they come up, you're like, hey, how are you doing?
And wait till you get to my age, you get completely ignored. All the pretty girls and the trendy people get served, and then old people like me.
But I think maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely think that, like, as a guy, there's never been a real advantage to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's never been incentivized to talk to me. It's getting worse for sure. Like, people there's less reason to talk to this person. He has nothing to give me. But it hasn't been like, nobody's ever been like ready to serve me, No, I've never been waiting in a line somewhere and someone's been like, sir, do you want to come up here instead? You're always like, man, this is just.
Yeah, you come up first. You look nice.
Never have.
In fact, in some ways, I can't wait to get even older, because I noticed that with my mother as she got even older. Then she went back to getting that priority treatment.
Ma'am, do you want some French fry? You're like, yes, I'm sorry. I'm simple, you see. Yeah. Well, you got to lean into it, though. You're going to be great at 87 because you'll be able to shoplift and just play it off.
That's true.
It'll be perfect for your cat burgling career.
I wonder if I should start practicing now.
I think it's a little too early still, unfortunately.
Yes, I could.
Well, Mother, you're well?
Yeah. Yes, not too bad. Yes, okay. Yes.
I've found some good stuff.
Have you?
I have.
What have you found?
I found the treasure trove of my school reports. So in Hollywood terms, we got picked up for another 30 episodes. So I don't even really know where to start. I think this kind of nostalgically struck me. This is your handwriting. I like that you assume your glasses are on your head.
What did I put?
This says Mrs. Carpenter, the school report for Gareth's last quarter, but it's on your toy service envelope.
Oh, right.
And it's weird because I hadn't even thought of toy service, but now it's such a, like, this logo was such a ingrained part of our existence back then.
And all the business cards, they were toy service, but in color, everything. Yeah.
There was nothing in that one.
Oh, boring.
But there's good stuff coming. What were you going to say?
I can't remember.
Okay. I mean, these are just all over the place.
Yes.
So it's hard to have a real order, but some of these are just fucking hilarious. There's some of this stuff, this was like 5th grade students created imaginary characters using balloon armatures with paper mache. So this must be art. This is art.
Yeah. Yes.
So this one doesn't really count. But the overall comment, Gareth works well with other students in his class. He has a positive attitude towards work and is usually cooperative. Let's just savor the flavor of that one.
Yes. Is that as good as it gets?
Well, there's some good, but it's never good about, it's never, here. This is.
What year was that?
This is all 91 here.
91. So you would have been 12.
Yeah,
right?
Something like that. Yeah. Gareth's major test this quarter was 77, 46, 43. This caused his average for the quarter to be a 71, C-. It would be very helpful if Gareth did do several sets in his textbook and spring break for extra credit and more practice. Can you imagine me doing homework over? I mean, I'm just picturing me doing anything over spring break. It just didn't happen.
No.
It was like, in my head, I was like, the school and time off do not go together. Gareth needs to continue to listen carefully in class, recheck his homework and tests for errors, and seek special help. Wednesday, seek special help. That would have been a life note, honestly. Hopefully he will not have to miss any more school this quarter. I mean, I liked missing school.
Yes, you did.
I don't need to go in today. I don't feel right today. You and I would have a real tete-a-tete about whether I could have a day off or not off.
Yes, yeah, no, you like missing school with capital letters.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
This is science. These ones aren't so bad, by the way. This is 5th grade. Gareth completed all assignments this quarter. He appeared to be attentive during discussions and worked fairly productively on lab activities. His test score average is 72, although he had much trouble on the last test. Gareth needs to review vocabulary regularly, using his words in meaningful sentences and relating one word to another. He needs to read for comprehension, stopping after each paragraph to restate what he has just read. These efforts should help Gareth improve in science, and I look forward to his continued progress. Every paragraph, I had to stop and go, now, what have I learned? I have learned that it is important,
What lesson was that? Science?
That was science.
Science, yeah.
And then there's drama, and then there's gym, and those are pretty easy.
Are they good? Yes.
They're fine. I mean, gym is what you'd expect. It just makes me want to be a gym teacher, because I'm like, this guy just had like a regular thing he wrote, and then he was just like, yeah, he did great. Like, so it's just what you would expect from like gym class. Real easy. Okay, here's one. Oh wait, no, I wanted to save those for last. I found one of Nick's reports.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Nick's progress report.
Oh, look. Gosh, look how posh.
I know. There's not much to it though, because it's very much just one of these ones,
Oh, you're right.
Mine are like telling you why I'm an idiot.
Yours is a description, which is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, mine is like, Gareth is stupid because.
Yeah.
Here's one, just a random one. Biology. Gareth's daily work has improved this quarter. However, he still needs to work on his quiz test material. His current test average is 66. But that's from Miss Olson, who was the biology teacher. And she really did. It's a very interesting situation because she really did like me, but she also just was like, he's the worst student.
She didn't like your schoolwork.
No. Okay, this is one because I guess I had to sit at a lunch. I guess we had assigned seating at lunch. Or I must have.
Yeah, we think it might be you.
It must have been. But this is by the way, I'm acing the class of lunch.
Good.
Great A's in lunch class.
Eat the lot. Eat the lot.
Gareth is at my lunch table this month. Each day I notice his kindness and the way he helps the other children and the good example he sets. And of course, he's fun and interesting. What a wonderful boy.
Oh, that's so nice, isn't it?
That's a nice one, yeah.
Forget all the academics.
And then this one, this is a letter I think that you wrote to when you and my father were going through a divorce. You wrote him some letter about, like, basically this is us trying to figure out how the hell am I going to get into college.
I wrote that to him.
I think so. But you're basically being like, how are you going to help him get into college? Because remember, I was not, for some reason, schools were not beating my door down.
No.
To get into college. I don't know what their problem is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is geometry. Gareth has a test on chapter 2 on conditional statements to make up. In order to receive a grade for this course, he has until November 11th to make this up, or his grade will be recorded at a 52. Gareth's grade have been inconsistent throughout the quarter because of his struggle to make up work from his absences and still the current material he was being presented. Gareth's daily homework was not completed regularly, and he should set a goal to complete every assignment this new quarter to reinforce his learning material. Gareth has had a difficult time staying focused in class. His participation in discussions is minimal, but he does engage in conversation regularly with his neighbors. I would like to see Gareth become more self-disciplined and contribute to the class in a more positive manner. Gareth needs to become more organized and prepared for this class with the materials to give him an opportunity to learn. He also needs to become a better note taker so the information he's learning becomes more immediate first. These skills will improve the practice. He should see. Yeah, I mean, she's basically being like, can you make this kid pay attention and be organized? Mm-hmm. But that really was my problem, was just like that I just didn't know how to, like, I didn't have a tactic for learning. I just sat there, okay. And I just wouldn't remember anything.
So if it was now, would you have a tactic for learning?
I mean, if I were to be it's like a movie plot, obviously, but if I were to go back now and be in like high school or middle school, I would totally know how to retain information better. I mean, basically what she's saying, the truth is that school is so bullshit. It is as hard as they can make your life as early as they can do it. So by the time you're 10 years old, you're stressed out about having to do work at home, get your work done, to get up the next morning by like 6 a.m., get to school, put in a full day of learning. It's tiring. You're a child. You want to go play. It just seems...
And it's boring. It's boring.
And to me, not that I knew what I was going to do, but I was like, geometry will not be a part of it.
No.
Like, this will just not be included. I was like, I'm not going to need to know geometry.
What a set square is.
Yeah, or algebra. I was just like, I won't need it. Oh, God. Okay, so this is Mr. Cornwell, who I did really like.
I remember Mr. Cornwell.
Well, eventually he became the dean, and we had quite a cat and mouse because I'd leave campus to smoke cigarettes, and he was really trying to catch me. And he came very close a number of times. The one time I had to park in faculty parking and hide my car and then run in through another entrance of the building and then race through the school to get back to high school so that he wouldn't, and he was like out of breath looking for me.
Were other people smoking with you, or was it just you?
That was just me. Gareth's grade of 72 is not indicative. Wow. This is English, by the way, so it's pretty good that I'm stumbling there. Yeah. Indicative of his ability in English. Gareth had one devastating test that considerably lowered his average. A 56 on the mythology test was over 20 points below the class average and demonstrated a need on Gareth's part to prepare daily rather than simply the night before a test, which was my move. I think also that Gareth would find greater success if he spent less time whispering in class and more time taking notes. And then he compliments my paper writing. But it seems like talking to the neighbors
again was Yeah, and whispering.
Talking to the
Who
neighbor.
did you whisper to? Who were you whispering
Whoever
to?
they would let me sit next to. They became very calculated as far as who I could sit next to. That's why I'm not sure about the lunch thing. Like, was I specifically assigned or was everybody? But they became very like, Gareth, you'll sit between her and him, like two people who will not deal with your bullshit.
Yes.
And actually, one time they fully changed Oren's schedule to get him out of a class with me. They were like, okay, we're going to take him out of this English class because Oren was a year below me, but there were some classes where they'd mix. And so they took Oren out of my English class because I was distracting him too much. And they ended up having to redo his whole schedule in order.
Do you think his parents requested that?
No, the teacher requested that. The teacher was like, I can't handle this. I'm not kidding. That's literally what happened. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Gareth continues. This is non-Western world, it's whatever. Gareth continues to do very poorly in non-Western world. He received only a 49 on our most recent Africa unit test, missing 12 points on the map section alone, which was straight memorization. That was something we spent a lot of time in class working on. He is still inconsistent about homework. While he seems to be making an effort to be a more positive force in the classroom, sometimes he can't help himself from fooling around. I did speak to him about getting some ideas from Dr. Someone, but as of today, he still has not done this. Gareth really needs to decide that he wants to succeed academically.
Oh my word!
I had not decided to do that.
No, you hadn't.
Phys ed. Gareth is doing a good job in class. All right. Okay, French. You ready for French? Yes. Any comments?
Yes.
I know I'm plowing through these.
I thought you were quite good at French, but speaking it and maybe not writing it. I thought
I had a good start in French. You're not wrong, because there was a teacher, Miss Rundy or something like that. Do you remember? She would give me extra help or something. But look, here's my French stuff. Yeah.
Oh my word. That is beautiful.
Thank you. Gareth, you take risks in speaking French. Your attitude is simply marvelous. You contribute so much to the harmony of our French class. Your interest level is very high. Merci.
Oh.
And then Gareth is I basically said I'll miss him next year. Then she said, oh no, that's the music teacher.
She's not going to miss you.
The music teacher would not miss me. No, the music teacher, if anything, was like, thank God. What is this one? Oh, that's basic math. But yeah, there's a couple from the French teacher, and she was super like, oh, this might be the other one.
Why didn't she influence the other teachers?
I don't know. They weren't speaking her language for some reason.
No.
Okay, we'll do this in a second. Okay. So that was early French. This is where French got to. Gareth has had a difficult quarter in French. Too frequently, he comes to class unprepared or with his homework only partially complete. And though he seems to work hard taking notes on supplementary concepts, vocabulary I present on the board, his quiz grades have vacillated from a 35. 35! Ouch! Fuck! To a 98. To a 98. Hello.
Inconsistent.
That's right. Gareth's test performance has been problematic this quarter, 57-50. Ooh. Following are subject areas which he found particularly challenging: auxiliary verb usage in the past tense, au revoir, être. By the way, it's possible. Conjugating French verbs. Number and gender agreement between the past participle and subject with Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp verbs, those conjugated with être in the past tense. Just think about what he's. I'm like,
I don't know what she's saying.
I'm like 12 years old, and he's like, he cannot conjugate the verbs with the participle. I'm like,
etre. Is that etc. or I can't remember which
ETRE. I think etre is B.
B.
Like, Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember. 3, placement of negatives in the past tense construction. 4, placement of direct and indirect object pronouns in both indicative and compound tenses. I mean, what is he fucking talking about? 5, supplementary vocabulary lists. I either distribute in class or write on the board. I would encourage Gareth to pay close attention to these subjects areas as we move into the second quarter and on to more challenging concepts. In addition, I strongly recommend that he get all handouts distributed in class as well as the note chapter section, blah, blah, blah. Yes, so he's not very impressed. So French goes off the rails.
And that's French again.
That was French. That was different.
But I think sometimes if you like the teacher, you work hard for them. And if you don't.
I was unable to focus.
Yeah.
I would have definitely been on Ritalin or Adderall. I just couldn't key in. I just had I don't know. I mean, I tried. I was sitting there going like, but it was just,
But also there was so much going on at home as well, wasn't there? I mean, that was all
I definitely
big pressure. And I'm sure that affected you.
I definitely was distracted. Yeah. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
But then the other thing we would do to the French teacher, what I would do and me and a couple other people would do, and we would take his chalk. So he would go crazy. He would be like, where's my chalk? Before he'd get in there, we'd take his chalk. And then what we started to do was we started to hide 2 pieces of chalk in his eraser. So he wouldn't be able to find chalk. So he'd start his class not being able to find chalk. He'd be pissed. He'd go somewhere else. He'd get chalk. He'd come back pissed. And then he'd erase his board. And we'd put 2 pieces of chalk in the eraser. He'd be erasing his board and he'd putting more chalk on the board. He'd go, you'd just see him from behind, just his head drop. And he was just like,
yeah, Gareth Reynolds.
I felt very bad for him in a way. But I was also like, sir, this is how it works. This is the deal. We're enemies. Yeah. We are mortal enemies.
Get used to it. What was his name?
Mr. Scott. Monsieur Scott.
Monsieur Scott.
I don't know if you can see the number up here, but it's good. 55.
Oh.
55. Not good.
What? Oh, not good.
Biology.
No. It's not down to 35. They're like that one.
Well, that was just one quiz. It was it's hard to get that bad. This is biology. And this is a really good one. Gareth has not been very concerned about his success or failure in biology. He must be asked to pay attention. Last week, he moved to the front of the room, thank God. He must keep his hair out of his eyes so that I have some eye contact with him. Often, I just see a nose and mouth. And he absolutely must come in for extra help. I'm available before or after school, but it is up to Gareth to let me know if he is coming in for help. If he works harder during the second period and passes the exam in December, he will be able to pass for the semester. Laboratory work also needs attention. Gareth's quiz average is a 53. His unit test average is a 41. Holy shit.
Gosh.
41 is really bad.
41 is very bad. Yeah.
But that was Miss Olson. And she, like I said, she did like me because when she was retiring, she gave this speech in front of the whole school, in front of the whole high school. And she was basically like, talking about things that have happened. She'd been there for ages and her whole life. She'd taught there since she was like 20, whatever. And she was retiring at 70, 80, something like that. And she's going through some highlights. And she brings me up as one of the highlights as all the things she used to have to take away from me. And so she decided it would be funny to return my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle to me in front of the whole assembly. So she goes, actually, Gareth, there's something I want to give back to you. It's this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And everyone was looking around and I was gone because I skipped assembly to go smoke cigarettes at McDonald's.
No!
Yeah, so everyone's going, Gareth? And I came back and everyone's like, where were you? And I'm like, what? Like, I skipped assembly and you could maybe sneak under the radar. But now it was so obvious I'd skip. So I came back, I was like, wait, what? Oh, son of a bitch. And I was in trouble.
Oh, no. So did you get your Ninja Turtle back?
I did get it back. She gave it back to me, but she was like, where the hell were you? Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you say?
Yeah, I said, sorry, I was studying about phylums. This is a good one. This is just random art. Gareth still plays a lot of the game. Should I work today or socialize? Oh, shit. And then there's this drug and alcohol evaluation in here.
Yeah.
From when I was 16. So this is the North Shore Center. So I must have gotten in trouble, which I did. We know I did.
Yeah.
But I must have, this was when I think the school wanted to kick me out.
Yes. Trying to remember.
Well, this is just how it starts. Client began experimenting with alcohol and marijuana at age 14. Use was very occasional. His use seemed to be restricted to summers in England with his cousin.
Oh my God.
He was first intoxicated at 14, which I think is actually 13. I must have fibbed. At 15, his use increased to about once a week, smoking marijuana with friends. Client has family history of chemical dependency and depression. Parents divorced in June 94, which has had a negative impact on client. Given involvement with Whitefish Bay police. Oh, that's what it was. This is when I remember the cops came. I was at a party and the cops busted us. And you came and got me and you were pissed.
Yes, well, good. I'm glad I was. Where were you? Whose house were you?
Whitefish Bay. I don't know, some random house.
Yeah.
But yeah, then this goes on. It's basically like, from the report by mother and client, the client does not show evidence of diagnosis of substance abuse or dependence. So that was good.
But you didn't.
I didn't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I always kept it fairly moderated. Okay, but so this is what I found interesting. So we've got all those.
Yes.
And so my school, as you know, was very stressful because they did not really like me. They were constantly like, why would you like me? I was a little distracting shithead who, I didn't get a lot of these anymore.
No.
Those stopped coming, and those stopped coming eventually.
When you were 5.
That's right. But what did happen was I started doing theater. And that seems to have changed the tide a little bit.
Yes.
Because that made the teachers suddenly liked me. So then I found these. Because I was Dogberry in Much Ado About Nothing. I can't even tell who this is from. But you were terrific, Dogberry. I loved your accent and your acting. I also look forward to seeing you in many more productions. This is from the teacher who said that my non-Western world, that I was terrible in non-Western world and all that.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a wonderful performance in Much Ado. You were terrific, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching you. Nice work.
Oh.
And then. Good. This is Miss Olson, the biology teacher, gave me the Ninja Turtle, who did. Yeah. I couldn't see my face because of my hair. What a wonderful portrayal of Dogberry. In my opinion, you and JJ and Sarah were the stars, and then it gets a little watery. Someone wrote, I agree. So someone just found her note and tagged on there too. But then a letter from the headmaster. Who the guy that,
you.
Me. Dear Gareth, I was enormously pleased. This is a guy, I was like failing out of his school.
Yes.
I was enormously pleased and proud as I watched your performance of Much Ado About Nothing. Individually, collectively, you and your fellow thespians with a skilled director did a wonderful job portraying the drama of Shakespeare and charmed the audiences for several hundred years. It's always hard to put it together during the last days of rehearsal, but you did it. Congratulations and best wishes, Harvey Sperling.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But then remember when I graduated, when I shook Harvey's.
Yes.
What happened?
You wore a tail.
What kind of tail?
Was it like a foxtail or something?
A monkey tail.
A monkey tail. And he was saying to you, thank you, Gareth, for being so good and not disrupting.
He was thanking me for not disrupting the ceremony as a
and everybody in the audience
dropped out.
And they started to giggle, me probably to start with, and then the whole audience erupted in laughter because you'd worn this tail.
A monkey tail.
Yes. And I sold those tails. That was something I sold.
That was, it was your contraband.
I hope they would have bought them afterwards.
Yeah, that's all that was guerrilla marketing. I was trying to get a bunch of potential consumers.
Yes, I hope I benefited.
I hope you did too.
Yes.
So I think we can do this for the next couple.
Those are amazing.
I found more. There's more.
Did you? I should see if I think I might have some of my school reports.
Oh.
I'll have a look. I think my dad gave me them years and years ago.
Well,
I'll have a look.
I knew I had these somewhere, but I just couldn't find them. But
That's
no.
that's brilliant.
But it really does sort of like, it's so interesting. What I find so interesting about it is that it's like I am the same person. If put in that sort of sterile environment again, I would feel the same way.
Mm.
You know, it's just not for everybody. The way that they break down school and break down teaching and it's just not for everybody. And
Yeah.
I never felt comfortable in those situations. I'm not saying like, you know, certain people should not have to go to school, but they don't educate you in a way that is interesting or entertaining. And as you can see, at least when I was a kid, there's not a lot of nurturing going on there. They're basically like, hey, come in for extra help. I mean, I was an asshole, so I'm sure that like they were like, I don't want to with this kid.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that like I remember being him. I remember being this child who was lost and feeling like it was my fault. And in reality, it was more that I just was so not suited for that environment. My mind, I mean, even like you can tell in the reports, it's like the only time people really have anything nice to say is when it's performative. You know, when it's based on something I've done that I know or not good at, but that I felt good doing.
Yes.
I didn't feel good in algebra. I didn't feel good in science or biology or, you know, any of that.
No.
I felt good doing plays. I felt good pretending or, you know, trying to be funny. And I don't know. It's you really do have and part of it I think is that, you know, school is used to get you used to working, but you know, there could be ways to cater things towards children's abilities and, you know, natural skill versus just sit there, absorb, you know.
Well, it's funny, really, because I think I was the same. I didn't like school at all. I couldn't wait to leave. I had no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
And when I was at school, you could leave at 16, and I left at 16.
Yeah.
I never enjoyed it. I didn't like you said, I didn't like the atmosphere. And but when I listened to that, I keep thinking, oh my word, I should have tried to do more, but I didn't know what to do. I wasn't equipped to deal with it.
I don't know what I don't really know what you could do in a couple of senses. One, I think I was just different in that way. Like it just was not, I just was not, my head just didn't belong in there. It didn't want to be in there. I think two, you know, teachers have, it's why I feel so bad for teachers today, because they have even more to deal with than those teachers back then. They have bigger class sizes. They get less money compared to economically the environment they live in. And they have to a lot of times pay out of pocket for their stuff. I mean, you know, you really have to ask teachers to care so much, and it's getting harder and harder. But even then you can see that the teachers are kind of a little like, whatever. The other thing is what was happening just naturally in our house is a distraction. You cannot, it's not what you did or didn't do. You know, I was sort of dealt whatever hand I was dealt for the environment that I lived in. And it was one that was really, you know, hard to not fixate on.
It was a little bit messy. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. Sure.
Understand. Very messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say to all of that in totality is I don't think there is much that you could do. I mean, I think when you really think back on it, you know, what you did do was, whether you knew it or not, was kind of give me freedom to try to kind of figure out who I was and who I wanted to be. And that is more valuable. I would have I never needed my diploma, really, you know, like I didn't. I mean, you know, and the stuff I do now, I don't need it, but
you did go on and go to college, so that was pretty good, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, you cried when I got into a really bad college.
No, I didn't. It was a good one.
No, when I got into like one where I was like, Mom, they'll take anyone. You were like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, no, this is not at the time. But But yeah, I don't think there is much you could do. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you would have. You couldn't have. You could not have physically gotten me to do the work. I didn't want to.
No,
I would have either told you no, or I would have lied to you. And either way, what are you going to do?
And I still wouldn't know what to do if that happened. You know, I mean, it's just. I think you just weren't academically inclined, and I think I could relate to it because I wasn't. I wasn't really academically inclined, and I'm still not now. You know. So.
No, I mean, it's. You know, it's like if they were asking me to read books that I found interesting, I probably would have read more. The books I'm reading didn't interest me. Like when I read now, I'm like, oh, I enjoy what I'm reading. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
And then it was not interesting. So I don't know. It's very strange. They give you the hardest job for when you're the youngest.
Yes, they do. It's very true. Yes. Yes. You wish you could be a little bit older. And also I think the other thing is as well, and I think it's got worse. I was thinking actually because somebody in our family is a teacher, and she was saying the reporting now that they have to do every single day, you have to fill out a report. Yeah. So gone are the times when you can try to teach, you have to report, and all that's wrong. It's like nursing. Everything's gone to reporting.
It's in stand-up, it's not necessarily like that right now, but in the time that I've been doing it, there are clubs that live and die by the comment cards, by what people write on the comment cards. First of all,
even in
first of all, the comment cards, what they are is basically anyone who fills those out is a type of person. They want to be heard. The want to be heard people are sometimes the people we should listen to the least. So they want to be heard. And if you get enough negative comment cards that are like, hey, I didn't respond, whatever, then some clubs would actually cater towards these, you know, people, the ones who were complaining, they would cater towards. But the truth is, in reality, what you just have to do is you just have to say, look, this is a place of experimental art and freedom of speech. If you're uncomfortable with it, get the fuck out. And that's it. And that's sort of in a way what, you know, like teachers should not be forced to evaluate kids every day, and teachers should not be evaluated every day, because you cannot measure progress daily. You just
and I think you just want the hands-on stuff. You don't want pieces of paper. I mean, I think it sounds dreadful, and I think. But
it also, how does that? If you're a teacher, how does that not make you teach differently?
Yes, and it doesn't help, does it? And you live in trepidation. Have I done something wrong today?
Yeah, fear. But
I think that's scary.
I think there's so much of what we do now is controlled by, you know, fear.
Yes.
And making mistakes and falling down is so important, because it's how you teach yourself to pick yourself back up. You don't want when you fall down to have people gathered around you talking about the experience and how do they pick you up the right way and which foot should go forward. It's about you figuring it out. It shouldn't be about
Exactly. Well, when Mum was in care, when she first went into care, they could lift people, you know, back onto the seat. You know, some people would slip and what have you, and
on
then
the toilet seat.
Well, or even in their own chair.
Okay, yeah.
Mum, she had Parkinson's, terrible Parkinson's, and she would, because she shook so much, she slipped.
I remember her. Yeah.
When we first moved, and she was very light, a carer would come along and just put her back, you know, just put her back. And then eventually, as Mum was there a little bit longer and she was still alive, this woman, they couldn't do it. They had to wait to have 3 people to move her. Yeah. And she was like a little stick anyway. But, you know, all that's wrong, I think.
It's hard. It's hard because we start out needing care and we end up needing care. And
but to me, that's an example of red tape gone wrong or just over the top.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because they needed 3 people there because of protocols and stuff.
Well, because in case they put their backs out, it got to that point that they couldn't do it because it might injure the carer.
Right.
Or they might drop her, you know, which there was one woman, though, she used to come along. I can't remember her name, but she was marvellous. She just used to make sure nobody was looking. She'd just shove Elsie back on the chair.
Remember the one guy in the Nan's home who was just so aware and didn't belong there? Henry or Harry?
Oh, yes. Sat next to Mum. He'd come.
Remember he'd lost his shaver?
Yes. Didn't you buy him or you were going to?
I think I bought him one or they found it. It was one of the two.
Yeah.
But he would like everyone.
What about the lady that hid her leftovers under her skirt?
Oh my God.
That was Mom's friend, and she wouldn't let anybody. Nick was there, I think, for that one. She wouldn't let anybody.
They wanted to take her food away before she felt she was done. Right. I remember.
Yeah. And
then
so
I also remember when they would give them wine.
Yes, they did. They did. And if they were wine at night, they could have it, or sherry up in their room or whatever.
Now, see, I get that it's not the best environment to live in, but I could get by. I could get by there now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I know.
If they gave me 4 of those little wine bottles a night, you're not going to hear much out of me.
The only thing is they'd have to fill out a report card now.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So
Gareth is drinking very well. Gareth really knows how to get drunk in this home. A lot of the other people try to moderately drink, but Gareth is blackout drunk most nights.
And he won't share.
He doesn't share it. He takes other people's wine. Even the woman who hides hers under her skirt, Gareth has somehow found a way to get. Well, Mummy, a lovely PAMdemic.
Oh, that's lovely. Well done. You do make me proud.
You made me proud today.
And you got all those lovely stars.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's lovely to...
Anything to promote? You have a book coming out, don't you?
Yes, I can't remember what it's called.
Right. Well, if it were to be called something, what do you think it would be called?
A Day in the Life of Pam Reynolds. And then the review would be by the Sunday Times, boring.
Interesting. Okay. Well, the title's not great. All right, Mom. Love to you.
Yeah. Love to you too.
Love to you.
Speak to you soon.